Hello everyone. Today I want to talk to you about Islamophobia, which has been a long-standing problem in France. In addition to being discriminatory and unfair, this unreasonable fear and hate towards Muslims and the Islamic faith has an enormous impact on the life of many individuals in our society. It is important to understand the impact of Islamophobia and how we can combat it to create a more equitable and just society. In this speech, I will discuss the impact of Islamophobia and provide ways to combat it. Islamophobia influences several fields, including job opportunities, schooling, and even fundamental human rights. As someone who has studied the impact of Islamophobia on Muslims in France, I can speak to its impact and need for change. First, I will discuss the impact of Islamophobia on several levels. Second, I will provide ways to combat it. And finally, I will emphasize the need for collective action. In France, Islamophobia has resulted in violation of human rights for Muslim women who wear the hijab. In recent years, there have been multiple occasions when hijabis have been ordered to remove their hijab in a variety of circumstances, including work, school, and public venues. These activities not only damage their religious and cultural identities, but also impact their fundamental human rights, such as freedom of religion and expression. In 2018, a French lady called Mariam Pougetou, the representative for a student organization, was harshly criticized in the media for wearing her hijab during a televised appearance. The criticism she got reflected France's rising dislike against hijabis and the pressure they face to adapt secular standards. Furthermore, the French laws prohibiting the wearing of religious symbols in public places such as schools and government buildings have had an impact on hijabis' rights. A 15-year-old Muslim girl was dismissed from school in 2018 for wearing her headscarves, even though it was not prohibited under her school uniform policy. Muslim football players in France have been negatively influenced by Islamophobia, especially during the month of Ramadan. Muslims all over the world honor Ramadan as a significant religious occasion by fasting from sunrise till dark. However, during this holy month, Muslim football players in France have experienced prejudice and unjust treatment. As an instance, the French Football Federation (FFF) has firmly refused to stop evening games during the holy month of Ramadan to allow Muslim players to break their fast, citing the concept of football neutrality at the places of practice, and stating that these interruptions do not respect the provisions of the law of the FFF. Now that we have discussed the impact of Islamophobia in France, let us explore ways to combat it. Education and awareness. Educating people about Islam and raising the knowledge about the faith may help in the removal of preconceptions and misunderstandings. This can be accomplished through curriculum at schools, community outreach initiatives, and public awareness campaigns. As an example, the Stop Islamophobia campaign was introduced in France in 2015. The campaign used billboards and banners placed all throughout the nation to spread messages of tolerance and denounce prejudice towards Muslims. Another way to combat Islamophobia is advocacy and legal support. This can be effective tools for defending Muslims in France against Islamophobia. To defend Muslims' rights, hold discriminatories accountable, and guarantee that justice is done in incidents of hate crimes and discrimination. Laws and legal activism can be employed. As an example, laws protecting religious freedom, which implies that Muslims have the right to exercise their faith and wear religious garb, such as hijabis or burqas, without fear of discrimination or penalty. Now that we have explored ways to combat Islamophobia, let us emphasize the need for collective action. Collective action is essential to overcome Islamophobia. Individuals and groups may generate a sense of unity and cooperation, enhance their voices from the networks, educate individuals, and achieve significant change when they work together. In response to the mosque massacre in Christchurch, New Zealand, for example, Muslim communities and their supporters throughout the world organize marches and campaigns to raise awareness of Islamophobia and demand action from government and institutions. Protests and campaigns have been staged in France by Muslim groups to raise awareness of Islamophobia and demand protection for Muslim populations. Together, people and organizations can influence legislation, increase public awareness of problems, and build a more fair and equitable society for everyone. It is impossible to stress the necessity for collective actions to address Islamophobia in France, and the only way we can do so is by working together in solidarity, as quoted by Margaret Mead. Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it is the only thing that ever has. Now that we have emphasized the need for collective action, let us move to the conclusion. In conclusion, we must acknowledge that Islamophobia in France is a serious problem that impacts Muslims on many levels. However, we can fight it with negotiation, education, awareness, and through advocacy and legal support. Let's collaborate to build a society that honors and respects everyone, regardless of their origin or religious affiliation. We can create a more equitable and just society. Remember, it is up to us to take action and make a difference.